Trump allegedly directed his former attorney to lie before Congress. Buzzfeed, this morning, still standing behind its reporting. This is the details of why Robert Mueller's team chose to dispute Buzzfeed's findings or put under the microscope. The Washington Post going inside that decision-making process. But why was a statement released at all by the special counsel's office in this instance when it left so much room for interpretation? Lee, let me start with you. I'm going to read this statement here that we got from the special counsel.
Yeah.
Just a sentence. Buzzfeed's description of specific statements to the special counsel's office and characterization of documents and testimony obtained by this office regarding Michael Cohen's congressional testimony are not accurate. I mentioned this piece in the Washington Post. Devlin Barrett, his colleague, writing about the back and forth, the decision to do this. People familiar with the matter said that the special counsel's office meant the statement to be a denial of the central theses of the Buzzfeed story, particularly those that referenced what Cohen had told the special counsel and what evidence the special counsel had gathered. There was, for a few hours here, a whole lot of ambiguity about this. That first statement I read from the special counsel, people thought might refer to a paragraph in that Buzzfeed story. Now, according to the Post, it seems like the whole thing was called into question. What are the ramifications of this, as you see it, in light of the furor, in light of what we saw surrounding the piece?
Well, I think it's going to take a little bit longer to play out. So far, no other news organizations have corroborated this, but this is the weekend. We have to see what's going to play out here. But it was a vague statement. It's also, does it imply that everything else that's been written about the investigation has been true? Because they've never come out and said anything before. 20 months. So there's that kind of side note. But, this is becoming a he said, she said. I mean, Buzzfeed, Ben Smith is coming out and forcefully saying twice now.
Doubling down.
We stand. Yeah, we have reconfirmed. We stand by our reporting. And, these two reporters have done very credible work on investigations into the Trump Tower in Russia before. One of them has been nominated for, I think, Pulitzer. But on the other hand, the Pete Carr, the spokesperson for Mueller, is taking issue with the way they asked for comment, and so it's getting a little bit more into the weeds, and I suspect this will play out for a few more days.
Virginia Heffernan was on the show yesterday. She raised a good point. We should have talked about it more yesterday when she made it, and that is, you get this denial from the special counsel's office, and people seem very eager to take it at face. If you were doing some reporting and the source said that's not true, that often isn't the case. What do you make of that? Just attitudinally, how we feel about the special counsel's office. Doesn't speak often, speaks through legal filings mostly. There are a whole host of people who say, oh, we're going to let Mueller have his say. In the end, we're going to be waiting for that. What do you make of the way that we're treating the office?
Well, I think so many people want a particular outcome. And I think we have to remind ourselves, just because you want something to happen doesn't necessarily mean that it is happening. And so I think, people on the left who really want this president to sort of be seen as the charlatan that he is, and they're waiting for Mueller to come out with this big sort of gotcha. Any sort of crumb, because Mueller has been so quiet over these past 20 months, and the leaks have been almost non-existent. Any little drip, many people are sort of holding on to, saying, see, this is evidence, it's going to happen, right? Many people were hoping this would happen January 21st of, 2019, or 2017. Yeah. And so we're waiting. I think the biggest problem that I have is that it falls into the hands of the president where, I think his biggest, he's done a lot of things to damage our democracy, but one of the greatest things that he's done that will have the most long-standing effects is really call into question truth, facts, and our media. And if we think about media as the fourth branch of government in many ways, he has essentially said that, anything that you hear that's, not favorable to me is fake. And so if he doesn't like the news, he just calls it fake news. And I think the long-standing effects of calling truth and facts into question on both sides is really problematic.
Well, but this gave him a huge opportunity also to come in and side with Mueller. In what world does that happen? He's saying, I really...
He too protests too much. Okay. As a former prosecutor, if Mueller wanted to deny that story, and by the way, he's been talking loud for a long time, just through his pleadings, his indictments and convictions. I'll take exception to you there. If he wanted to deny it outright, then he would just deny it. Yeah. And if he felt the need to deny it, he would come out and do it. This was a very nuanced statement. He said, I disagree with the specifics of how this was presented. The most important word in that statement is specificity. Because, as I said, if he wanted to deny it, he could deny it. I think they took exception to how it was being portrayed and how it was written, but not disagreeing with the substance of what was said, because generally, based on Cohen's plea and what we know about Cohen and this deal and Trump, generally that makes sense. So as a result, I don't see it as an outright denial. With the Democrats talking about this is enough to impeach him, I think Mueller was more concerned about the nuance might send us over the top, or the Dems over the top, to start impeachment proceedings.
And Evan, to that point, I mean, this became a vessel for those who are impatient about this whole process. I just want you to respond to that. Plenty of people saying, in light of the publication of that piece, if Mueller's got this, he needs to make it public. Enough dithering, enough waiting. We need to know what he has.
Well, I think Mueller will let us know what he has when he has
Right,
it. And that's important. But there's a really important thing we're missing here.
That he's not sharing right now. I
guarantee it's all going
to
be in the report. I think the most important.
That's why he's so upset.
The most important thing that happened. But the most important thing that happened with that denial on Friday is that everybody who's been talking and defending Mueller, saying this is a man of integrity, was proven right. Because this is something that Mueller knew would be seized on by the president's allies. And they did. And Mueller and the 13 angry Democrats, whomever they may be, they went out and said they're adhering not towards some sort of get Trump thing. They're adhering to the truth. And that is what matters at the end of the day. And I thank Robert Mueller for putting out this statement. And BuzzFeed, if they did get this story wrong, there's going to be a lot of problems there.
All right.
Well, I think that the reason why Mueller is taking so long is because we're dealing with a corrupt man for the past 4 decades, where he's pulled one string and now so many things are falling up. I mean, what we thought might be a 2-month enterprise is now indefinite.
There you go. Coming up, President Trump making his case for a compromise in Democratic leadership, calling it a non-starter. Is that how all Democrats in the House feel? We're going to ask a California congressman in just a few minutes.